Zeb, how's the hand?
It's been really good. Progressed really quick. Threw it around and had fun today.
Zeb, being able to, obviously go onto the field, start to come in as a grad assistant, go onto the field. How have you been able to help some of these other quarterbacks, like a guy like Luke, being able to have that perspective? Obviously you played the game, but now that you've been able to witness some of the stuff in this type of scheme, how much does that help you to be able to help some of these other guys too?
It helps a lot just because I can relate super easy. Like Saturday when I came back out, I wanted to go talk to Luke because I couldn't see what was going on. I could just hear the crowd when I was back there in the little area, and I was just more concerned about how he was playing and how we were moving the ball. That's all I really cared about at the time. I just wanted to see us be successful.
Zeb, you're obviously a guy that has been in the playbook now in a different capacity than you were over the summer, but you've seen this playbook from its inception and helped design it. Just how much more can be done with this offense? What else is there to kind of show that maybe hasn't shown through the first 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I think we got a lot of really, really good playmakers we got to continue to get the ball to. Like you saw how good Juju played at ECU. Obviously, there's a lot of guys out there, not just the running backs, but there's multiple receivers and tight ends we got to continue to get the ball to and continue to utilize just because they're all phenomenal athletes. It's not like basketball where you can flip it around 5 times and get 5 touches. Quarterback touches every play, and then everybody else is at the mercy of them. So just working on getting the ball to everybody and just cutting it loose and having fun.
Going back to the other night, I guess with the first play, Sat was kind of laughing about the zone read for you. What did you see as that play was kind of developing?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it all week. Obviously, Ford's really good and really talented and really athletic. I knew when I pulled it who was going to chase me down. It wasn't the Will, the Sam, or the corner. I knew he was coming just because he does it a lot. That's something he's good at is redirecting. And I was running the sideline. I heard the crowd getting loud. I was like, all right, there he is. So, and, Sat wanted me to get hit just to knock – I don't know. When you get hit, it kind of just knocks the nerves out of you just because you don't have anything else to think about other than this big guy just knocked me down. So that's really the plan and just rolling with it.
Then that third down, you guys went tempo and you hit Josh up the sideline. Mm-hmm. What did you see there? What can you tell us about that play and what sort of goes into that?
Yeah, when you go tempo, it's hard for any defense to get lined up and be on the correct call. So we threw it into our sideline just simply knowing that the last guy to get the call would be the safety in the corner to that side. So just doing what I'm told is, we talked about it all week, and you got to deliver a good ball. That's really all. Any tempo team, I don't know if y'all watch Tennessee, but they play fast as anything. It's hard for anybody to get lined up, and I enjoy watching them just because of how fast they do it and seeing how distraught a defense gets. So kind of the same little mentality.
Then the last one is the tough one with the injury. What happened on the play? I guess you got stepped on after you threw the ball.
Yeah, so I dropped back and the right end came. We had to go on silent cadence because it was as loud as anything on that third down, and we were in the red zone, and there's students in that end zone, and the DN I stepped up, tried to throw it in the neck, and it bounced off the guy's helmet, and I just got thrown around, and by the time I looked up, my hand had been stepped on. So I knew I laid there for a second because I knew I threw the ball and it bounced off his helmet. So that's why everybody took off running and causing a scene. I just it is what it is.
Have there been times where you're under center calling audible at the line where somebody's not hearing the audible, or just we've heard miscommunication in here a lot this week, and I'm just wondering, what are your views of the miscommunication from the QB spot?
Yeah, you can simulate crowd noise as much as you want, but when you go to an environment like that, it's there for. COVID took it out of them. They hadn't been in the stadium. The students are going to be loud. Everybody's going to be loud. They got their top recruits in there. They want to put on a show for them. We want Willie to be as loud as we can Saturday night. So Kentucky's going to deal with the same problems we just dealt with, at Georgia. It's just hard. You can only yell so loud. It was the first second down of the game I clapped and we moved. They never heard the clap. I can clap, not now, but I can clap pretty dang loud. And that's one of the things that's kind of frustrating is just you practice clap all week, clapping. That's all you got. So that's really the miscommunications.
And also, you're not on Twitter, right?
I don't get on there much, no.
I was just wondering if you've seen the Colonel Zebulon.
I have seen those. Luke just texted me now. I'm sure it's a Twitter feed, so I'm sure it's got something to do with that. So that's how I get them all. Luke texts them to me just to give me a hard time.
I was just wondering what you think of.
Yeah.
You being a Georgia boy and growing up not too far from Athens, and I mean, I know you were in the different colored uniform, but just what was it like for you to be in that stadium and running a football team? And then secondly, with you getting healthier with your hand, is it open competition with you and Luke now moving forward once again through this week and progressing through the practice sessions?
Right. First off, I told the quarterbacks before the game Saturday, I was like, I've dressed out a lot in college. I dressed out 30 games at NDSU, obviously national championship with all my boys there. That's like one of my greatest football memories of my life. All the games we won and lost at Iowa State. Saturday was the first time I put the pads on, and that's probably the happiest I ever been, just because I got to come back. I mean, like when you walk out of our tunnel, if you looked up and to the left, like that's where we sat as kids. That was the moment I had dreamed of, and my parents, I knew they were sitting in that corner where the South Carolina fans did, so like we got the ball down there on the third play of the game, so it was just really exciting. I hate that I got hurt. I really, really, really wanted to give it everything I had. I know they were good on defense, but I didn't care. I just wanted to go out there and live in the moment, just because you never know when your last one's going to be.
Zeb, we were hearing a little bit about how Luke's been kind of taking mental reps and going through progressions on the sidelines even when he can't be running around. I guess just what have you seen from him in terms of how he's sort of attacked rehab and getting right and, now actually being able to play as well?
Even before I got this little injury, like Luke and I did everything together. Like in the training room, we were in there all the time together. And we watched film together because, like for me, like I can feel, like if I feel a throw and I don't like it, I can just say, I don't like the way that feels. Like Luke, if he saw something I threw it and he's like, I don't know if I don't like that looks. Like we just feed off each other really well. Like even like today and yesterday, just going out there and working together. Like if I see him hitch up and I can tell he like kind of hesitates, we got to fix something. Just communicate between each other, because now that I have been in this offense, I can feel it. Like I know what timing's supposed to be. It isn't always perfect, even in the pocket. But, I mean, you got to give a credit to him. Like, third down conversion late in the game on the crosser to Jalen Brooks, like, he stepped up in the pocket and didn't bat an eye. Like, you got to give the credit to him for taking those reps. Like, we knew we wanted to throw that. So we worked all week, and he just found a way to do it. And I got to do the same thing at practice now, Like, you asked if it was an open competition. Yeah, I mean, we're going to compete every day. It doesn't matter. If Luke would have never got hurt and I'd have came in, we'd have competed every day, because that's the only way you can get better in a quarterback room is to push each other each day, just because you just never know when your number is going to be called. Like, how many of you guys said Luke would have been in the second series of the game because my hand got stepped on? Probably nobody. So you just got to be ready, because you never know.
So what have you seen from Kentucky in the film that you've been able to watch from them, and how big of a challenge is that front four going to be for you guys in this offense?
I think it's a blessing in disguise. We got to play Georgia last week just because they're really tough, physical, and fast, and we know we're going to get the same exact thing out of Kentucky. I mean, I personally think they're a really good football team. I know they've been at home 3 weeks in a row, and, like, they played Chattanooga tight. Well, we played ECU tight. Like, it's not easy for anybody to beat any of those American Conference teams or Conference US, like any of those. It's not easy to win those football games, because that's their Super Bowl. They're going to play harder against us than they do all year. So, they're going to play hard. They're going to play fast. I think that transfer from Ole Miss, I think he's a good player. I think they got a lot of good players. One that stands out to me is number 14 in the corner. I think he runs like a deer. I told Luke that when I turned the film on. You got to be careful, because he'll run it down, and don't leave him hanging. But, I got a lot of respect for those guys, and I've always had respect for Kentucky on defense because they play hard. And I'm not sure what they do on offense, but I mean they're coming into Willie B to beat us. They aren't afraid.
When did you start getting some of the sensation to return in your hand, and what is that like in the moment, knowing that you can't really feel your fingers?
Yeah, I mean, at first, I mean, it's my throwing hand. I'm really right-hand dominant. Like, the only thing I've ever done left-hand is catch a baseball. So, like, I don't have anything to do with this side, but, like, I'm good here. It's just, like, at first, I mean, I don't know how big 88 is, but he ain't small. So that's a lot of pressure in one spot. And, you know, I'm very lucky. I got to thank the good Lord it missed every bone in my hand, so I didn't break anything, as you know. But at the time, it kind of sucked, and it scared me just because I didn't know. I'd never been stepped on in the hand, so I didn't know. And, you know, I just wanted to get back out there, really. You know, it's ironic you ask, because my dad texted me while I was in the locker room getting the stitches, and he said, get your butt back out here. You don't need to sit in there all night. So, you know what I did? I put my phone down, and I said, look, I'm going back out there. I don't care. So that's what I did.
Well, Shane said in the broadcast that you may be able to return in that game. What would that have looked like?
Yeah, I really do think, like, if need be, I could have come. I'd have had to take all that tape off that you guys saw, just because I needed to feel, even if I couldn't feel the tip of my fingers, like just being able to grip the ball like I wanted, I would have needed that. But I went out there and gave it everything I had. That was my goal going into that game. I would, you know, I made a joke all week, like, you know, bring it with everything they got, because for me, I got 1 year left. Like, if I did get hurt, that's God's will. So it's really how I approached it, and I just wanted to go have fun.
Zeb, both as their teammate and then obviously someone that was in that wide receiver room before you made the switch over to be quarterback, how proud of you of that room? Because, you know, I think a lot of people on the outside, I mean, we kept hearing so much like, okay, this is actually a talented group, this and that, but on the outside we wanted to be able to see it, and you see guys like Josh Vance stepping up, Jalen having a good season. What do you attest that to?
I think they just show up every day and work hard. They're a really tight-knit group that pull each other along. You know, like, running back and receivers have a really unique personality on any football team I've ever been on, and I just think that they do a really good job of pulling each other along. DK played quarterback, so he knows how to lead a whole football team. So I think that helps in the sense of leadership. But Jalen and Josh and, you know, like, they're doing everything they can to pull everyone along to make the entire room great. Whether it's on special teams, like, they make a big emphasis in that room of being good on special teams, and that carries over. But, like, I mean, Josh, he has a lot of stuff going on each day, but he manages to come out there and execute at a high level, and, like, he don't take no days off. Like, Sunday, it don't matter how many reps he got, he don't care. He's practicing, he's going to catch the ball. And the one thing I respect out of Josh is, if, you know, like, you throw a go ball down the sideline and it ain't where he wants it, like, he's going to come back and tell you, hey, you got to get this one here this week. You know, he's got a good football mind. I'm sure you've heard Sat say he's really football savvy, and I think that them just pulling each other along is going to make them even better.
How excited are you for the first SEC game at Williams-Brice? What are you looking forward to about that experience?
I mean, first road trip SEC game, take Georgia out of it, was fun. So, and I see how hard it is to go and play in those environments. And I know these fans are itching just as bad as any SEC fans were to get back in their home stadium with a home opener. I'm happy it's at 7 at night just because everybody can go tailgate and have fun before and be really rowdy. I'm excited for that. And I'm sure the student section will be electric because they've been away 2 weeks, and they'll be ready to go.
Zeb, Jalen Brooks was talking about how he's made catches like that one-handed catch before in practice, that he made one earlier in the week. Just really the first time we've seen that kind of catch from him, that kind of performance from him in a game as a Gamecock. What have you seen out of him in practice, and what kind of player do you think he could be for this team?
I think he'd be an elite player. Jalen's really smart, and, you know, y'all heard him talk before he comes. He's very well-spoken. He's got a good head on his shoulders. You know, his biggest thing is being as consistent as he can be, you know. Like, how about that? I mean, like, the first game of the year, the first pass, he dropped the post. I went up to him, I said, I trust you, don't worry about it, right? So when he catches a ball like that, it's like, I know what he can do. You know, he makes contested catches each and every day, whether it's curl route, whether it's dig route, whether it's post, and he's got to go high point it. Like, he does those things, and he takes a lot of pride in it. And, you know, that group of 4 or 5 guys in there are really pulling everybody along. You know, they're trying to get Rico better. They're trying to get EJ better. Like, they want to see them succeed as bad as they're succeeding. And, you know, I love Josh to death because he does get a little like if he ain't getting the ball thrown his way, it's not a selfish or cocky way he wants it. It's like, Coach, I got him. I got this DB right where I want him. You know, just give me a chance. And it's really contagious. Thank you, Zip. Yep, thank you, guys.